Okay, super serious intro, super serious intro, super serious tone of voice. You know how it goes. The Rani is a Grixis goad commander that creates and attaches an aura to target creature that gives the enchanted creature +2/+2 and goads it. And whenever a goaded creature does damage to an opponent, we get a clue. It seems pretty straightforward. We goad the opponents, we get clues. Unfortunately, I'm the one making this deck, so I thought, nah, screw all that stuff. We're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to go to my own stuff. What I immediately found so interesting about this card was the fact that I could put it on my own things. Using this information, this deck uses early evasive creatures along with our commander to make the evasive creatures bigger and bigger and bigger. On top of this, the Rani will still make us a ton of clues for our creatures getting through, so artifact interaction is a must. This deck has tons of routes to victory, including combat, drain, burn, tons more. So if that sounds interesting, let's get into it. Okay, so I think we already kind of know what the Rani does. Puts auras on stuff that goads the stuff. If that stuff hits other people, we get clues. So moving past her, we got the Greaves, of course, protection, haste enablers, why not? As far as board wipes go, we've got Doomwake Giant, because every time we swing with Rani and we get one of those auras, we also get a -1/-1 for our opponent's boards, which is really, really good. S9 Antics has become one of my favorite cards. One, because it plays around with the aura sub-theme we have by making a ton of auras, but it also turns all of our opponent's stuff into 1/1s, which, paired with Doomwake Giant, pretty good. And then naturally, Blasphemous Act, because why not? Moving into card draw, we've got Sire of Stagnation, which is a 6-drop 5/7. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player exiles the top 2 and we draw 2. Kind of a budget consecrated Sphinx. L'Oreal Revealed, just very good. Island cycling, draw 3 for 5. Why not? Decadent Dragon. You get to play stuff off the opponent's library, and you get a dragon that creates treasures. Why not? Rowan's Grim Search. It's a instant speed draw spell, and if you bargain it, you get to have more control over what you draw, which is great. Quick Study. Instant speed draw spell. Windfall. Just a very good card. Everyone discards and then draws the most discarded. Rhystic Study. We all know that. The Reality Chip overperforms every time I play it. You just reconfigure it onto something and then you get to play off top. Super good. Moving into Acceleration, Mana Rocks, stuff like that. We've got Mind Stone, Thought Vessel, Ebony Fly, Arcane Signet that I picked up at the Murders of Karlov pre-release, Felwar Stone, Talisman of Dominance, Soul Ring, Wayfarer's Bauble, Everflowing Chalice, and Stormkiln Artist, because with all the artifacts we're sacking, making a ton more artifacts to sack doesn't seem like a bad thing. Moving into the deck-specific stuff, we've got the small evasive creatures that we're going to try to throw some early game auras on with the Rani. So we've got Siren Storm Tamer, Mausoleum Wanderer, Forsworn Paladin, Cabal Therapist, Professional Facebreaker, Ghostly Pilferer, Case of the Stash Skeleton, which might be my favorite card out of Murders. Makes us a 2/1 menace, then you can use it to tutor, super good. And Invisible Stalker's just great, unblockable, hexproof, so if we throw a bunch of auras on it, no one can really deal with it, so that's great. Next, we've got paper cut cards. These are going to be cards that deal and like ping people for when our artifacts die. We've got Disciple of the Vault, Unicult Anvil, Mirkwood Bats, and Grim Guardian. Especially in this deck when we're doing so much small damage and big damage, it's kind of one or the other. Having the ability to ping people is very good. Next, we've got kind of a weird group of cards, just clue interactions, cards that interact really good with the amount of clues we're going to be making. Karn Legacy makes the ability to crack clues way easier. Eloise gives us more clues, and it lets us surveil when we crack them. Inquisitor Eisenhorn's perfect in here. It gives us clues equal to the amount of damage he dealt to an opponent, so if we put enough of our goad auras on it, we can get a ton of clues off this guy. And then finally, of course, Academy Manufactor. Turns all of our clues into a food, treasure, and a clue. So you can see how that's pretty good. Fumble was a card I honestly wasn't sure where to put in this video, so here it is. You can switch all your auras from one thing onto another thing. I like it a lot. It's kind of cool to do sneaky plays with all the auras we're making. And then finally, we've got the win cons for the deck. Bothersome Closet turns all of our non-creature spells into goad, and then goaded creatures can't block, so it's very good in here. Nicol Bolas just a giant planeswalker. Aki Battle Squad gives us multiple combats. Marionette Master drains people very heavily. Chandra's Ignition turns our biggest creature into a self-destructing bomb. Revel in Riches lets us win if we control 10 or more treasures. Valduk gives us a ton of 3/1s with Trample and Haste for each aura on him, so very good in here. Displacer Kitten lets us blink the Rani multiple times. Mechanized Production wins us the game if we have 8 or more of the same artifact on our turn, which very easy to do in here. And then finally, Valky. If you can get him early, he's a 2/1 that you can start putting goad enchantments on that can become a copy of the strongest thing out of people's hands, which is great. And then on the back, he's same vein as Nicol Bolas, big scary planeswalker. Does some good stuff. Turn 1, we're trying to drop an annoying 1-drop evasive creature like, let's say, Cabal Therapist, Rotisserie Elemental, something like that. If we can't, land as usual, pass. Turn 2, ideally, we're going to have a mana rock. We run like 12 of them, like Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, whatever tickles you fancy. Get a cheeky 1 damage in if we had played the 1-drop on turn 1. If we now have the 1-drop in our hand, we can use the Mana Rock to play it, so do that. Turn 3, we drop the Rani using our Mana Rock, give the +2/+2 Goad Aura to our evasive creature, swing in for 3, create a clue token from the Rani. Turn 4 into the mid-game is pretty set. We have an annoying damage source coming at the opponents as the Rani will keep giving auras to our evasive creatures, and if we can have a land like Rogue's Passage or Access Tunnel in play, that'll help the Rani attack without really any danger in there. Actually, someone brought up in my previous live stream, Maze of Ith would be really good in here because, well, 1, it's Maze of Ith, and 2, it can stop the Rani from doing a bad swing while still giving her aura, which I think is actually really smart. Play 1 or 2 more small evasive creatures to begin buffing up with the Rani, all the while getting clues that allows you to dig through the deck for the late game and some of our win cons. Speaking of which, let's look at some more of the powerful interactions in the deck and some of the win cons. Let's start off with some of my favorite interactions in the deck. Firstly, we've got Karn Legacy Reforged plus the Rani. Karn's ability to give us a ton of colorless mana for each artifact we control allows us to crack a ton of clues for free and get a ton of draws for free. Mechanized Production's already just great in this deck as we're going to make a lot of clues, but put it on Unicult Anvil and you get progressively scarier and scarier blacksmithing stations. It's a lot of damage. You have 3, 4, 5 Unicult Anvils. People are losing 5 every time an artifact dies, and then you're getting 5 1/1 servos. It's pretty good. Doomwig Giant is super solid in here, plus the Rani, because every time you swing, Rani will spit out an aura, attach it to, hell, even the Doomwig Giant, and then the Doomwig Giant will give a -1/-1 to the opponent's whole board, which will make our swing better, and we can do that every combat. It's super good. Fumble plus the Rani. I didn't know where to put this. It's just really cool. 1 in a blue, you can move all your auras from one creature onto another creature, so if we have like 5 or 6 auras running on something, and then we have other things swinging in, we can move all those if someone tries to kill spell it onto something else. Ton of sneaky damage. You might be able to kill someone with this, I'm not sure, but it's really good. Academy Manufacturer plus Mechanized Production. Yeah, this one kind of explains itself. You're going to get so many tokens. So many. And then finally, this is a new one I added, Diminisher Witch plus the Rani. This is really cool. Diminisher Witch has Bargain, and if we did Bargain when it comes into play, we can put a Cursed Roll token on something, and that turns that thing into a 1/1. It doesn't remove its abilities, unfortunately, but it does turn it into a 1/1, which I think is a really cool line in play in here, because if we decided to put an aura on one of the opponent's creatures to goad it, because, you know, it's a big scary creature that we don't want swinging at us, once it gets to a 1v1 match and that big giant goaded creature can now swing at you, you can just drop this, sack one of your auras that's on that creature, and then turn the creature into a 1/1, which seems really good. Moving on from that, we've got win cons for the deck. Up first, we've got Aki Battle Squad. This card provides an extra combat for all of our modified creatures, which with the Rani, we'll have plenty of enchanted creatures, and we'll get multiple combats to put more enchantments on stuff with the Rani. It seems pretty good. Those creatures being evasive makes this a real heavy hitter in the deck for sure, because tons of free damage. So, love this thing. Chandra's Ignition in a deck where we're getting in damage wherever we can, as safe as we can, and we're making as big a creatures as we can. Being able to have a creature deal its power to each opponent and board wipe not only helps us reset, but if we have a big enough creature, that can end the game. Speaking of ending the game, we got Displacer Kittens. It's D-Kitten. It's really good. With the Rani, we can just produce, frankly, a scary amount of auras on our evasive creatures, bash in for a ton of damage. It's very good. Marionette Master is insane. You can either have it enter as a 4
power creature, or you can have it enter with 3 1/1 artifact servos. And here you're probably going to want to have it enter for 4 power, because whenever an artifact dies, target opponent loses life equal to her power. So yeah, with this many artifacts we're cracking, that thing will take people out quick. Mechanized production we kind of touched on a little bit earlier, but we'll circle around to it now. If we control 10 or more clues, we win. I guess there really wasn't that much to circle around to. Next, we got Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. Big, dumb, steal your stuff, you Planeswalker. I don't know if you need any more. I don't really think you do. Valky, God of Lies. Super good. Removes, copies the best thing out of hand if gotten early. You can also flip it on the back for a giant you Planeswalker, if you would like to refer back to Nicol Bolas. On top of that, we have cards that I saw someone in the comment section of a video, and I can't remember what video it was, but they referred to these cards as like paper cut cards, which I really liked. So we're gonna roll with that terminology. These include cards like Disciple of the Vault, Uni Cult Anvil, Grim Guardian, Mirkwood Bats, anything that like drains the opponents when our artifacts die. They're here. And just in case you thought we were done with the straight up win cons, we've got Revel in Riches, because if we control 10 treasures, we win. So hey, why not? Especially when it's ran in the same deck as Academy Manufactor and Professional Facebreaker. You know, it seems pretty okay. Okay, just some final thoughts. I wasn't sure where to put here. So first being goading opponents' creatures. Now, I know you guys aren't gonna like this. It's still an option. You know, you guys know I can still do that, right? I can still put them on opponent stuff. So that's really good. Just because we're going for a stranger approach doesn't discredit the other more potent approach, and it certainly doesn't stop us from implementing it. If someone at the table drops a huge infecting threat that might come your way, swing the Rani at someone else, give the goad thing to that big infect thing, and then keep on track, keep on trucking how you're trucking. On the same topic, my list doesn't focus on goad as a main theme, instead focusing on the commander, the auras, goading evasive creatures and giving them +2/+2, but we do run some goad cards because they're just too good to not run in here. Carter Doomscourge, providing a global goad with Rani's clue production, super good. We also run Bothersome Closet, again, because we can multi-goad stuff, and the stuff that's goaded can't block now, so our stuff can get through even easier if it doesn't have evasion. Love that. Other than the goad stuff, we've got the classic kind of clue interaction, like Academy Manufactor and Eloise Nephalia Sleuth, just to produce more clues so we can draw more cards, dig through more of our deck. And I guess that's really all I have to say. Here's some stats on screen for your nerds, if you guys want to know some of the more specifics of the deck, like mana curve, how the mana divvies out, the colors. It's on screen, so if you're into that stuff, it's right there. If you like this format of deck tech, please let me know. Discord's open to everybody as usual. Links are in the description as usual. Very serious outro, very serious outro. Hope you guys have a good one. Appreciate you, and go play some Magic.